Have you ever wondered what separates successful real estate exam takers from those who struggle to pass? Is it their study habits, the background knowledge they have, or something completely different? In this video, we will reveal the secret to passing your real estate exam on the first try. It is mastering the 20 most common questions. We'll explore the topics they cover and the strategies you can use to tackle them. And if you want better prep before you sit for the exam, then check out our real estate exam prep courses on our website. The link is in the description below. Okay, let's get to this.
Question number 1. What is the procedure used by a public or private entity with the powers granted to take privately owned real estate? Escheat, condemnation, eminent domain, or abandoning lease property? And the correct answer is condemnation. Condemnation is the procedure used by a public or private entity with the powers granted from eminent domain to take privately owned real estate. Eminent domain is the right which grants the government to take privately owned land from someone, while condemnation is the action of taking that land. Always remember, eminent domain is the right and condemnation is the act. Question number 2. Which of the following statements about water rights is true? Choose the best answer. Water rights are appurtenant. Water rights are transferred exclusively in quitclaim deeds. Water rights are double taxed, similarly to how corporations are taxed. Or the two basic forms of water rights are ocean rights and lake rights. The correct answer is water rights are appurtenant. Water rights are appurtenant, meaning they run with the land and not with the original owner. In other words, if an oceanfront property is sold, the new owner gains the littoral rights and the seller relinquishes his or her rights. Question number 3. How many miles does a township contain? 6 miles, 9 miles, 36 square miles, or 81 square miles? And the correct answer is 36 square miles. Each square 6 miles by 6 miles is called a township. Since each township is 6 miles by 6 miles, townships contain 36 square miles, each one forming a section. Question number 4. Which one of the following would not apply to the income approach in the valuation process? Depreciation, capitalization, gross income multiplier, or gross rent multiplier? The correct answer is depreciation. Only the cost approach valuation process uses depreciation. Income approach refers to the money a property is making, but depreciation is about the value a property is losing. Question number 5. A property owner enters into a listing agreement with an agent. The seller obtains a buyer for the house, but the agent receives a commission. The listing agreement between the agent and the property owner was probably an open listing, a closed listing, an exclusive agency listing, or an exclusive right to sell listing. The correct answer is an exclusive right to sell listing. In an exclusive right to sell listing, the agent gets paid no matter who sells the property, regardless of whether it's the agent or the seller. Knowing this, it's safe to assume this was an exclusive right to sell listing. Question number 6. Under a lease for a commercial property, a tenant agrees to pay $3,000 per month plus 4% of the gross monthly sales. This type of lease is called a single net lease, double net lease, triple net lease, or percentage lease. The correct answer is percentage lease. A percentage lease is a lease in which all or part of the rental is a specified percentage of gross income from the total sales made upon the property. Question number 7. Richard is renting property from Becky. Richard is on a month-to-month lease agreement. This past month, he did not pay his rent. Richard's interest would be classified as estate at will, estate at sufferance, estate of periodic tenancy, or estate for years? The correct answer is estate at sufferance. A tenant who continues to occupy property after his or her rights have expired is said to occupy the property under an estate at sufferance. Simply put, that landlord is suffering. Question number 8. In the appraisal of a building constructed in the 1930s, the cost approach would be the least accurate method because of difficulties in estimating depreciation, estimating changes in prices of building materials, estimating changes in the cost of construction, or estimating depreciation, estimating changes in the cost of construction, and estimating changes in prices of building materials. And the answer is number 4. The cost approach is considered to be reliable when used on newer buildings and not as reliable with older ones. The cost approach becomes nearly ineffective after 25 years or so because of the difficulty in estimating depreciation, estimating changes in the cost of construction, and estimating changes in prices of building materials. Question number 9. Appraiser Leo was hired to prepare a feasibility study for a 12-unit apartment complex in which the owner is considering putting in a swimming pool. Which basic principle of appraising should Leo use? Condemnation, reconciliation, contribution, or closing? And the correct answer is contribution. Leo should use contribution because contribution is most commonly applied to determine how renovation and property changes may affect the property's overall cost. In this case, since the owner wants a feasibility study, contribution would need to be used. Swimming pools are a common contribution example. It's worth noting the cost doesn't always equal the value to the home. For example, a pool could add $5,000 to the value of a home, but cost $10,000 to build. Question number 10. The fact that there is a limited amount of land on Earth represents what essential element of value? Demand, utility, scarcity, or transferability? And the answer is number 3, scarcity. Remember dust and your essential elements of value. Demand, this means the desire to buy and an ability to pay. Utility, the item satisfies a human need or desire such as shelter, income, or recreation. Scarcity, limited in supply. As supply diminishes, value increases. Transferability, able to transfer from one owner to another. And if you missed our acronym video, DUST or STUD is just one of the 7 essential acronyms you need to know for the exam. So make sure to check that out before you sit for the exam. Question number 11. Which of the following is an example of economic obsolescence? Broken shingles, old shaggy carpet, flight patterns above your house, or a large shed in the backyard that is rotted? The correct answer is number 3. Economic obsolescence refers to the loss of property value due to external factors, meaning things of the property affecting the property's value. Examples of causes of economic obsolescence can include flight patterns, a busy highway, and rise in local crime. If you still don't understand this real estate term clearly, head on to our website. We have a comprehensive guide on this term. Question number 12. If a seller rejects a written offer made by a buyer, changes the terms of the offer, and has the new offer delivered to the buyer, it is considered what? An alternative offer, an altercation, an offer, or a counteroffer? And the correct answer is 4, a counteroffer. If a seller rejects a written offer made by a buyer, changes the terms of the offer, and has the new offer delivered to the buyer, this would be considered a counteroffer. Question number 13. Real property can be converted to a personal property by inference, severance, accession, and changement. The correct answer is 2. Severance is the opposite of attachment. Severance is taking an item that is attached to the land and removing it as personal property. Question number 14. Which of the following would most likely be considered a fixture? window blinds, toaster oven, couch, or a TV? And the answer is number 1, window blinds. Fixtures are personal property attached to the land to count as real property. Window blinds are screwed into the house. Therefore, they are considered a fixture in this example. Question number 15. Tony and Taylor are two unmarried individuals who own property with equal interest and a right to survivorship. Which of the following forms of ownership would Tony and Taylor most likely have? Tenants by the entirety, tenancy in common, community of property, joint tenancy. The correct answer is joint tenancy. For unmarried individuals like Tony and Taylor, joint tenancy is the most suitable form of ownership as it grants them survivorship rights. While tenancy in common and joint tenancy may seem similar, they differ significantly in terms of survivorship and ownership structure. Tenancy by the entirety, on the other hand, is reserved for married couples only. Therefore, given Tony and Taylor's unmarried status and their right to survivorship, joint tenancy is the most appropriate arrangement regardless of their individual ownership interests. Question number 16. Upon payment and delivery of the deed, the seller should also deliver what? Can be quite complex or quite simple depending on the type of real estate transaction. A lead paint disclosure form, package options, the bill of sale, or the mortgage. And the correct answer is number 3, the bill of sale. Similar to a receipt, a bill of sale is a written instrument that attests to a buyer's purchase of property from a seller. Question number 17. This act allowed greater control for the EPA to control contaminant levels, take legal action against public water authorities for violations, and require periodic water testing and notification to state authority and homeowners if contaminated. SARA, SDWA, CWA, or EPA? The correct answer is SDWA. Safe Drinking Water Act was established in 1974. It allowed greater control by EPA to control contaminant levels, take legal action against public water authorities for violations, and require periodic water testing and notification to state authority and homeowners if contaminated. Question number 18. There are 3 different main approaches that appraisers use while they make an appraisal. What are they? Estate approach, cost approach, and economy approach. Market data approach, cost approach, and tax approach. Income data approach, sales approach, and tax approach. Or market data approach, cost approach, and income approach. The correct answer is number 4. There are 3 different main approaches that appraisers use while they make an appraisal. They are the market data approach, cost approach, and income approach. The market data approach is also commonly called the sales comparison approach. The cost approach is also referred to as summation. And lastly, the income approach is also known as capitalization. Each method has its own set of benefits. When applied together, the various valuation methods provide the best estimate of the value of the income-producing real estate under evaluation. Question number 19. What of the following is required by the American with Disabilities Act, aka ADA? All employers must have non-discriminatory employment practices. Reasonable accommodations must be provided to people with disabilities. All employees, real estate agents included, get paid for working on federal holidays. Any existing premise must be remodeled if requested by a person with a disability, regardless of the cost. And the answer is number 2. The Americans with Disabilities Act prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities in several areas, including employment, transportation, public accommodations, communications, and access to state and local government programs and services. The Act specifically requires reasonable accommodations must be provided to people with disabilities. Question number 20. A homeowner hired a construction company to build a swimming pool at his home. The homeowner failed to pay the bill once the work was completed, and the construction company filed a lien to obtain payment of the debt. The encumbrance that was created is called a luxury expense lien, a property tax lien, a mechanics lien, or a voluntary lien. The correct answer is number 3, mechanics lien. Mechanics liens are legal documents that essentially reserve the right of the filer to seek unpaid compensation. They are usually filed by contractors, subcontractors, or suppliers that never received payment for work that they performed or materials that they provided on the property.
There you have it. 20 common questions that cover every topic included in the National Real Estate Exam. These questions will position you for success on the national exam as long as you don't forget about the math. Math is an essential portion of the real estate exam. So, go ahead and check out a video that breaks down essential real estate math questions. Will help you secure that first-time pass.